What's up, guys, and welcome back to Bourbon Blind. We're just kind of here hanging out. We got Scott from Scotch Test Dummies with us and Bryant from Bryant on Bourbon. And we just wanted to hang out and drink some whiskey and talk about maybe some age statements and stuff. We got Scott from Scotch Test Dummies with us. And Bryant so, hey, I got, apparently I forgot to mute that. Sorry, guys.
That's all right. We expect it from you.
Hey, we're professionals here, remember?
That's right.
It's 10:30 on Friday night, so sometimes you might have to hit that clutch one more time.
Like I said, man, I just got back from 8 or 9 hour drive yesterday at 10 o'clock at night. So anyway, you guys want to tell people where they can find you and what's on your channel?
I'll go first, I guess. Scott with the Scotch Test Dummies on YouTube. Instagram, we are the real Scotch Test Dummies, and Twitter, Scotch Test Dummy with an I. What
about you, Bryant?
I'm all Instagram, man. Just Bryant_on_bourbon. It's been a little bit slack. I haven't been putting up a ton of content lately. I got a 3-month-old son right now that is not quite yet sleeping through the night. So that, in addition to 12-hour shifts in the hospital, I just haven't been able to put up as much stuff or get as many tasting notes and stuff down. But hopefully I can get back to putting some stuff up and interacting with you guys more. So hang in there with me.
It'll all get there. It will. Yeah, family comes first. I don't know if you guys saw in the chat, we were talking earlier about it. Knob Creek is getting their 9-year age statement back on their small batch bourbon, which, yeah, I mean, bravo to them.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
I'm going to hold off on my thoughts about it. Bryant, what do you think about it?
Apparently this is something that Fred and Freddie had really been pushing for. And credit to them for bringing it back. Now it's going to be curious to see, are we going to catch a price hit with this, because also this week it came out that there's going to be a Knob Creek 12-year. And then earlier in the year it was announced that they were going to put Knob Creek barrel selections on hold. And there'd been an awful lot of 12, 13, 14-year-old Knob Creek barrels in the private program showing up lately. So it's going to kind of be interesting how they're reshuffling the deck. Baker's is getting a rebrand as well. Baker's is going from small batch to single barrel, but they're not putting it in a barrel program, which doesn't make me super happy. And Baker's is getting a price increase too. So it's a lot of moving parts over there with kind of that middle part of the Beam small batch lineup. So it'll kind of be interesting to see where the cards fall. But anytime age statements are coming back, I think that's a good thing. You know what you're getting, and credit to Beam for planning and managing their stocks and bringing back a bourbon that a lot of people kind of probably cut their teeth on, and that was kind of their go-to before they stretched their legs further into the whiskey world.
I did hear that the Knob Creek single barrel is going up $10 a bottle.
Which that's fair it's been underpriced for a long time. I mean, in my market, it's like $42 or $43 for at least 9 years and 120 proof. I mean, that's
shut your mouth, Brian.
Exactly.
Ixnay on the Obnay Creek now.
Right. I was going to say, man, Knob Creek's been putting out some like 14 and 15-year store picks. 120 proof, $45.
Yeah, I've got one. I think it's $49 here. They're unbelievable. Yeah.
Yep.
Great deal.
Some of them are too oaky for me, but that's just me and what I like to drink. I mean, overall on paper, it's a hard deal to beat for what you're getting and the price they're charging you. There's a lot of value there.
I will say, I'm almost wondering if it doesn't get a price increase, or even if it does, if it's almost more of like a marketing scheme, because they just did away with the age statement less than a year ago.
No, I think it's been a little bit more than that. I'd say 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think even if you go back, I think it's at least 2 or 3, because it was really one of the first bourbons that I think we saw losing the age statement.
Mm-hmm.
and them going that way because the bourbon boom was kicking in and they couldn't keep up with the supply. So I think if you go back, it's been maybe even, would you dare to say 4 years? So I would say 3 years at least, probably.
I think 2 to 3 years sounds about right. It was right around the time Elijah Craig 12, Little Red 12, around the time that went away, and it just, I mean, it sucks to see it go away, or when the Knob Creek 9-year went away and the Elijah Craig 12. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, 9-year-old Elijah Craig now was laid down in 2010, or Knob Creek. I mean, we all know that you can't make it today and sell it tomorrow. So the credit to Beam for saying we might need to do this for a little while, but if we can catch up here and do this and do that, we've got the stocks coming. It's going to be a temporary thing. And, credit to them for bringing it back on the market. I can remember even really before I was, seriously into whiskey, if I was going to a party or something like that, Knob Creek, was a, solid pick. You could quality bottle that you give to somebody. You didn't have to spend a lot of money on it. You knew it was at least 9 years old. That's a pretty solid statement, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really glad that they're doing the 12-year option, especially since all these barrel picks are like 14 and 15 years right now. I was like, dude, obviously they have some sort of supply, know what I mean, that they're offering. So.
Yeah, I mean, and Beam's a juggernaut. I mean, obviously Jim Beam White Label's the #1 selling bourbon in the world. I think it's 4 or 5 million cases a year. So I mean, they've got lots and lots of stock. I don't know if they've got as much as Heaven Hill. I still think Heaven Hill is the leader in the clubhouse as far as number of barrel aging. But Beam's one of the behemoths, and good for them. Now, if they could just get Booker's back up to that 7.5-year mark, then we'd be back in business.
So one of the things I've always wondered about Booker, so when you buy it, you got the little tag on it, right? It tells you where all the barrels and stuff came from. It says, say, 6 years, 7 months, 12 days. Does that mean, I mean, obviously it doesn't mean it, but that is the youngest barrel that went into that batch. But there's nothing that says all of those barrels were that age. Like they could be older.
That will happen with Scotch. Yeah, I would assume the same with bourbon. You're going to have, I mean, there's say a lot of, a 12-year single malt Scotch could have 15-year-old whiskey in it, or maybe even older. So I know it happens with, say it probably has to happen with bourbon as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I can go grab it. Actually, the most recent Booker's release, I think Shiny Barrel. I picked one up. I like to have an open Booker's. I don't buy each and every release, especially since the price increase came out. But every now and then Booker's just kind of scratches an itch that I get. It's up to 6 years, 5 months. The lowest I saw was 6 years, 2 months. And 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago, it was consistently 7 years, 8 months, 7 years, 9 months. And on the label, it says, Booker liked his at 6 to 8 years old.
Right.
But I like mine a lot closer to 8 than I do closer to 6, especially if you're going to be $79 a bottle, which is what it is in South Carolina. Apparently in Kansas and Oklahoma, they probably have a gas station for like $39 or something like that.
Yeah, I wish Booker's will still be about 79. It's about that range here.
I was about to say $80 seems just about everywhere. If I'm traveling or state, I mean, it's just kind of one of those like benchmark. Every store has it, and you can kind of tell, how they are in their pricing. It seems to be pretty consistent. The most recent one is 6 years, 5 months, and 1 day, I think, and there's probably some older than that juice in there.
The Shiny Barrel batch.
Yeah, the Shiny Barrel batch. It's only 124 proof, which is kind of on the lower end for Booker's. It's a solid Booker's offerings, but it's not as good as some of the 2012 and 2013s that I'd had previous to that. But if anybody needs a Booker's, I'll vouch for Shiny Barrel. It's a solid offering.
I was going to say that shiny barrel batch is freaking pretty phenomenal, especially after you give it a little bit of airtime on it.
Yep,
it's really solid.
Better than the first batch from this year that I didn't hear too many good things about.
I would say so, yeah, for me anyway.
The shiny barrel, and then the most recent one I had from that was like 2016 or 2017, which was No Hard Times. So again, I don't drink a ton of Bookers. I do like to have. I like to have one. I like to have an open one. But it was. I mean, I wasn't thrilled to pay $80 for it, but you know, I'm glad I've got one. So.
Scott, you get into the hey, there's Jason.
Jason,
what is up, guys?
What's up, buddy?
Welcome.
I got your link. I figured I'd jump in with you guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good, man. We're just talking about some age statements.
Oh, age statements, how they disappeared and now they're coming back.
Yeah.
What I saw you did a review of Shiny Barrel, Jason, but I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. What was kind of your take on it?
I really liked it a lot. It was, if you enjoyed Kathleen's batch last year, I think you'll really like Shiny Barrel batch. It's got more of that beautiful kind of traditional Booker's flavor, and then some. But it's got a slight fruity characteristic that Kathleen's batch had, and I really like it. It is eons above Teresa's batch. So yeah, Teresa's batch was just kind of an off-profile Booker's to me. It just really didn't really do it. But Shiny Barrel batch is really good.
I think the Shiny Barrel is just super rich.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's got a ton of flavor to it. It's got that beam nutty characteristic that everybody kind of knows and loves.
Yeah.
Really good proof, really good finish. Teresa's batch to me was just overpowered by the alcohol, and you really couldn't get too much flavor past that.
Off the top of your head, you remember what the proof on Teresa's was? Because I know Shiny Barrel's 124, which is kind of closer to where I like mine.
Yeah,
I know that's a loaded question. Sorry.
Yeah, no, actually, I could tell you in a second here. Hold on.
Well, he's going into his stash.
It's 62.95%.
So 63, so 126.
Yeah, 126. Okay, so Shiny Barrel's a couple points below that.
Yeah, and I've come to find in the last few years that the Bookers that are a little bit slightly lower proof have tasted better than the higher proof ones. So I don't know if that's just a trend or if that's just something I'm noticing.
I don't know about you guys. I do enjoy mostly barrel proof or close to barrel proof bourbons. 110 to about the 120, the low 120s is really my sweet spot. There's a couple of Elijah Craig barrel proofs that are higher than that, like the old Squat Bottle 139.4, I think is a really, really special pour. But anything north of 125 generally is not what I prefer. But that kind of low 110s to 120, 122, that's what I prefer, just for me.
It's amazing. It's amazing how we changed, because I can remember when I first started drinking whiskeys, and 40% just seemed strong, and especially if you got up to a 50%, you were like, oh my God, what's in this thing? And now I love barrel proof whiskeys. I'll take them all. I'll try them all. I love them. So Elijah Craig barrel proofs at 139, bring them on.
Yeah, it is amazing the transition growth. That's a really good point, Scott. I remember trying Jack Daniels and some of the first, like the old Jim Beams, like the white label, and you're like, wow, this is strong. And now you try all these barrel proof stuff that has so much flavor and it's so rich, and you go back to that stuff, it's like drinking water.
Yeah,
I'm almost disappointed when I see something labeled barrel proof or barrel strength and it's only like 52 or 53%. It's got to be higher than that. Come on.
Like, that's not barrel proof. Come on.
I know.
But you're seeing that more often. You're seeing that more often now. You're seeing a lower barrel proof number with the lower entry proofs now that a lot of distillers are doing. So
like this right here.
Exactly. That's my favorite rye in the world right there.
Jimmy Russell was doing that way before it was cool, y'all. This this rare breed from '04 is 108.2.
Yeah,
and it is mighty tasty.
Yeah. I mean, they were kind of ahead of the game in that, but now everyone's saying, oh, low Michter's, Peerless, a lot of these new Wilderness Trail, they're all doing a lower end proof because they know it's better on the front end to add the water rather than the back end, get more flavor out of it. I mean, it's amazing. So
I really like the higher proof stuff, like that 139.4 is phenomenal. A119 at 135 is absolutely fantastic. But I really think from like a daily standpoint, that 100 to 115 range is really, really kind of my sweet spot.
Yeah. If you really want to do a really interesting comparison, which I did, go back and find. So the latest Elijah Craig barrel proof bottle that they released was the B519. That was the lowest proof they ever released. It's 122.2 proof. Do a taste test.
Really?
Yeah. Do a taste test with that against one of the older ones. I think I forgot which one. One of the B's comes in like 135, 136. And just do a taste test. It's amazing the difference when you do it side by side. It really is incredible.
What do you think of 519? It showed up in my market this week, but I haven't gotten around to it.
I absolutely love it because you're not really fighting the alcohol too much to get all those flavors. You're still getting that Elijah Craig, the finish and the strength of it.
Yep.
But it's just allowing more of those amazing sweet flavors to come through. A lot of the oak and really, really deep, rich brown sugars. It's really good.
Yep. Vanilla is one I always get on, like a really rich, creamy vanilla nose. Whenever I'm kind of craving that, Elijah Craig barrel proof, one I reach for.
Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't seen B5. I pick them up when I see them, and I haven't seen B519 here yet. So I've got the A119, but not B519.
I think the A119 is one of my most favorite batches of Elijah Craig since the new label.
Yeah, I was really surprised at how good that was. The A's, when they released the 3 each year, the A's, and I've been saying this, the A's aren't really usually my favorite. Usually the C batches that release are usually my favorite for whatever reason. But the A batch this year was really, really good.
I liked C917 more than B517. And B517 was the one that won all the awards and whiskey of the year or whatever. But C917 I thought was the sweeter side of Heaven Hill, which I really liked. Sweet bourbons really aren't my thing. Wheaters aren't really my thing, but that was C917 was good. I've been keeping my eyes peeled and trying to poke around and pick one up, but I've been unsuccessful as of yet.
So when you guys were discussing age statements, what were you kind of getting on?
Knob Creek, and that's as far as we got was the 9-year and the new 12-year. And also Barton 1792 that we didn't talk about is getting a 12-year release, which I'm excited about.
Do we know if that's going to be a one-off, or is that going to be like the Sweet Wheat or the High Rye, which is kind of an intermittent release, or is it going to be kind of part of their mainline flagship offerings?
And let me ask on top of that, is it going to be the 1792 reasonable prices that we've come to know?
That's another fair point.
Yeah.
I have no answers to any of that. Jason,
if you're looking at the market and what 12-year-old bourbons are commanding, I would venture a guess that it's going to be pricier. How much pricier, I don't know. I'm thinking it's going to get anywhere from between $60 and $80.
That's what I was about to peg it at, probably about 69.
Well, and that would be reasonable. Yeah.
I would agree, Scott. In today's kind of day and age with what they're pricing, I mean, you got 10-year-old bourbons coming out that are over $100.
Right.
Or
two-year-old ryes that are over 100.
Yeah. So
don't buy those.
Hey, Aaron.
Aaron made it back.
Hi, Aaron. How are you?
Good. Just got home. It's been a long day.
Nice.
Now we were talking before we went live though on Barton and the warehouse collapse. I don't know that they've ever released how many casks, barrels that they were able to save, but when you look at the overhead pictures from that, the majority of them, and it shows the strength of a barrel, they appear to be intact. I mean, when you look, it looks like 95% of the barrels are still solid.
Unless they're busted on the bottom. Yeah, they look like they had quite a few bottles or barrels that had not broken.
That and they're already stacked horizontally. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's not like they're going to tumble end over end.
Which is the strong side, is the side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You would think that the bottom barrels would have a little bit of an easier time to maybe get a little bit more damaged. All the ones on top of that would just kind of roll down on top of one another.
I wouldn't mind getting one of the barrels that survived the wreckage.
Aaron, you're not supposed to say things like that because now they're going to release a barrel survivor edition, and it's going to cost $1,000.
Barrel survivor barrel.
Well, it won't cost $1,000, but everybody will snatch it up by the caseload and then charge $1,000 on the secondary.
Absolutely.
It won't cost Bryant Roberts $1 because I was buy one.
Speaking of the 1792
cost somebody else
$1,000. Did you guys see the store in California that had some kind of false advertising going on with the?
I did see that. It was a pic that they labeled was a tornado. I'm sorry, I keep saying tornado, like the
collapse survivor and stuff.
Yeah, the collapse survivor.
The warehouse.
Right.
It was from the next warehouse over. It wasn't the warehouse that actually collapsed.
Yep.
Oops.
Okay, so I start at the beginning with that one. Who was it, and what'd they label it as?
It was a store in California, and they labeled it, or they marketed it, I should say, as a warehouse collapse survivor, and the proceeds were going back to the distillery to kind of help them rebuild a new warehouse and blah blah blah. And coming to find out, it actually wasn't in that warehouse at all.
Were they at least giving some of the proceeds back to the distillery?
I don't know, because they were selling it at close to retail price, so they couldn't be giving that much money back to the distillery.
Call out that liquor store. That's awful.
Yeah. So here it is, guys. So it was a 1792 full proof bottle. And it said, this fishy $50 bourbon will be prized by whiskey collectors. It was called the Collapsed Barrel. It had a big sticker on the back. I mean, it was really kind of false advertising. It's amazing. And but they obviously figured it out, and they had to, I think, take the sticker off or whatever they had to do with it. But
so I would say I actually saw that as soon as it went live. And I tried to order 2 bottles of it, and luckily for me, they sent me an email the next day. They said, "Hey, sorry, we're sold out." And by that time, I had already seen that it wasn't what it was supposed to be. I was like, "Oh, good, appreciate that." So,
Kyle, as a consolation prize, I can send you some 1792 full proof that Bryant helped pick with a raging hangover. Back in late February, it was about 33 degrees that day, and being as we're all good old South Carolina boys, that was a little bit cooler than we were accustomed to. And we had done 2 barrel picks the day previous to that, and we got there at 9:00 in the morning, and our lovely tour guide wanted to take us to the hammer mill room, which we all declined. But needless to say, we all played a little bit hurt that day, but we were very pleased with the barrel that we got. So,
were you pleased with it when you were hungover, or after you got it in?
No, it was. We picked from 4 or 5 barrels, and it was the 3rd barrel in. And I went back and looked at my notes, and I remember because I was kind of nervous going on this trip. I'd never been on barrel picks before. I'm like, what do I do? How do you do this? And it's like they're like, don't feel like you have to drink all of it. It's like, if you get a sample that you don't like, just toss it in the rick. So everybody does it. I'm like, man, you're in a rick house, pour out good whiskey and this and that. And I'm here and I'm, just holding it together. And I get my first one and I'm nosing it. And it's just like, this just isn't good. Am I just off? Do I don't feel good? This and that. And everybody else is like, I don't know. So I just for my notes, I put 1. I just put not good, and then I knows 2, and I put better than 1, but not by much. and then we got these were the best notes I've ever done. And then we got to 3, and everybody was like, it was like the corner had been turned. Like, we all loved this barrel. We got to 4, we kind of liked it, and then we all like, because when we taste, like, we don't look at each other, we don't talk. I mean, it's, you go through your thing, you take your notes down, we eliminate a barrel, and then we go forward on how we select. And everybody was like 3, 3, 3, 3, hands down. So it's interesting, you know. I mean, you're kind of at the mercy of what they put in front of you. But the first 2, nobody cared for. Everybody loved 3. Everybody thought 4 was good, but not great. And we're pretty pleased with the barrel that we got. So
that's probably how they get rid of their bad barrels. They pull out the really bad barrels first to show you, and then the third one you get is the bad barrel. But by that time, you're all like, "God damn, that thing's good."
I was gonna say, I thought you guys would just kind of be in there going, you know, hungover, going, just pick the middle one. Just pick the middle one. That's fine. Like,
the answer is always C.
Actually, going back to the Knob Creek 12-year, I only heard this morning. What was what's kind of the details of that? Is it, are they basically, is it an extension of the Knob Creek single barrel line, or are they taking the 9-year, making it a 12? What's going on with it?
I don't know if it's an LE or not, Jason. I just saw that it is a 12-year 100 proof Knob Creek. So whether it's a one-off or if they've actually managed stocks enough to where this is something that they can introduce as a permanent addition to the line, I'll be curious to see what it's priced at. But there's not a whole lot of 12-year age-stated bourbons out there. And attention Campari, obviously, you know, Wild Turkey 12-year 101. We all need that to come back and. Yeah,
yes, we all need that in our life.
As soon as you boys can make that happen, we'd be all willing buyers.
There would be no shortage of buyers right now. That's for sure.
No, sir.
No.
So I don't know.
But it's a Knob Creek 12-year single barrel, or is it just a Knob Creek 12-year?
It's a Knob Creek 12-year 100 proof. So
all right, so they're blending, so they're small batching these.
Correct. So
okay.
In this, in addition to their private Knob Creek barrel program going on hold, I mean, we were talking earlier before we went live that, I mean, you can find 13, 14-year-old Knob Creek picks. They're out there and they're to be had, you know. I mean, it's not like it's a hard thing to come across a really well-aged Knob Creek barrel.
So now that begs the question to me, and you guys can weigh in on this. You know, a few months ago there was kind of the rumor that the Knob Creek, the Knob Creek picks and the barrels were kind of running short. They're going to kind of go away. Do you think that was out there? It was put out there because of the plans going forward that they're going to use a lot of these barrels now to make a small batch 12-year Knob Creek. You think that's where it stemmed from, or do you think that's really kind of it's just the shortage of the single barrel picks, whereas it was actually true, or they think they're just using all the small batch their 12-year flavor profile?
I'm not sure, but I mean, one of them they can't be just completely in a vacuum, you know. I mean, to give, I don't want to say give, you have to pay money for it, but 13 and 14-year-old whiskey for $40, $45, $50. I mean, I'm surprised it took them this long to come out
at 120 proof at that.
At 120 proof at that. Yeah.
And a lot of those taste better to me than a lot of the Booker's releases that I've had. So
there's a bigger spread to me that Booker's is more consistent. I've had some of those Knob Creeks that I've really liked, and I've had some 13 and 14-year-olds that I don't care for at all. But that really heavy oaky tannic profile is not one that I care for. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that's not what I prefer to drink.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that. Totally.
Am I in the minority because I don't mind heavy oak, I guess.
Yeah, I like heavy oak too, but it depends. If the oak is heavy but still sweet, I'd like it. I don't like when the oak is heavy and then it gets bitter. That's when it kind of kills it for me.
I would agree with that. There's an astringent quality with some of those. They're really, really dry.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't buy a ton of them, but whenever I trade a bottle with somebody, I always throw in the samples, and whoever's sending throw in a sample, so I've had kind of a lot of them, just here and there, and once they get north of 12 years, there's some that I like, but chances are,
I was lucky enough to get a 1 ounce sample of the Heaven Hill 27-year-old, and that thing was just a tannic oak bomb. And
you didn't send any of that to me.
Well, I mean, do you want a 1/2 ounce sample, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does actually.
Yeah, he's like, I'll take it. Yeah, I'll put it in a teaspoon and I'll take a shot.
See, when I tried the Heaven Hill 27-year-old, I didn't think it was super oaky. I was really surprised.
It was a lot sweeter than I thought it was. Maybe it was like my brain kind of triggering, like, oh, this is gonna be an oak bomb. So that's what I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was a lot sweeter on the front end than I thought it was gonna be. But the finish, to me, I got a lot of that oak flavor. But it wasn't a bitter oak. It just was a strong oak flavor. So
gotcha. And see, like, I don't mind the lot of oak, but like I had a 14-year Knob Creek pick that luckily I got to sample it before I bought it. And it was just that super tannic. It's almost like an acidic flavor, like it picks up, and like that's what I don't enjoy. Like I like a good oak flavor, but when it gets that really acidic tannic flavor, like that's when I'm out.
I see you're enjoying that Dickel, Scotty. Yeah, I know. That was one of the most interesting reviews that you and Bart had put out lately, because you guys are on such different sides of the spectrum. It was really interesting.
I'm really enjoying it. Half the bottle's gone. I really like it. I find it good. I think the 13 years shows in it. I don't think it's over oaked. There is a lot of the Dickel charcoal, Dickel vitamin, earthiness to it.
Yeah,
I like it. I had 2 drams of it before we went live here. And one before we went live, and I was sipping on it when we went live. But
and even if it might not be your thing, credit to Dickel for putting out, it's 13 years, right? Is that?
Yep.
I know it was in the press release. Is it on the bottle?
Yep. It shows distilled in 2005 and bottled in 2018. It doesn't say 13-year, but it gives you the date.
Yeah, but if it's bottled in bond, it's got to be from one season, so there's not going to be a spread. It all has to be from, I guess, spring of 05 or whatever. And I think it's like $39 or $41 in South Carolina. I don't know about y'all's markets, but anyway, credit to Dickel for putting out a well-matured, whiskey for, it's available, and 2, it's affordable.
Yeah.
So
at a reasonable proof.
At a reasonable proof. I mean, I should buy one just to support what they're doing. Hopefully we see more of that stuff moving forward.
But and like what Jason was referring to, Bart did not care for it. He thought it was too old. He thought it was too over oaked, and it was too astringent, and it went against his taste buds. But I'm really enjoying it, and maybe it's some of that as well. I know it retails as $35 to the $40 range. I had to pay $49 for it. I ordered it from Bounty Hunter Wines in California because it's not available in Kansas. So $49 plus $15 shipping, it was $64. I still don't mind paying that for it. I think it's worth that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So speaking of age statements and stuff coming back, next to said George Dickel bottle is the Heaven Hill bottled in bond that Scott has over there. That Heaven Hill is releasing now at a 7-year and a fancier label, cork top, but also 3 times the price.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's MSRP is going to be $39 on it.
Yeah, $40.
Yeah, it's 1 year older. It's $40. And You know what? I can almost accept that given the bourbon market and given where they have to make their money, and I get it. But the one thing that pisses me off about it is they're alienating the core group of followers of the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. On first release, it's not going to be released in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Which just boggles my mind.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, I figured that would be the one place that it would have to be released. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean you've basically created a cult following of the Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond that, that 6 year, everybody loved it. People would go to Kentucky just to get it, especially when they found out that it was going to be discontinued. People were running over there and buying cases of it. At $17, $15, $14 a bottle, which was insane. Now they're going to bring it out $40. Now it's $40. It's 1 year older, got a fancier label. And now you're alienating that core group of people that made it so famous. And you're not going to get Kentucky off the bat. That's ballsy. And unfortunately, it's going to work.
Yeah. And it begs the question, what is that going to do for McKenna 10 pricing? Already, we've seen it kind of, disappearing from shelves, or at least around here. You can still kind of find it, but you got to look. Used to, it was in any shop that you went into. So I can get McKenna 10 here when I find it for 34, and if MSRP on this 7-year-old is going to be 39, I'm pretty sure a price hike from McKenna 10 is coming, right? You'd think?
They're going to follow suit.
I would think so. Probably $10 or something.
Now $40, I think.
Which is now $50 for Henry McKenna.
Now, I heard another rumor about McKenna that the 10-year age statement's going to go away on the McKenna, and it's going to become a small batch and not a single barrel.
So they're cutting two corners.
Exactly. Now, I don't know how true this is, but somebody I spoke to said these were words uttered by the new master distiller at Heaven Hill. I can't.
Interesting.
I cannot confirm whether these words were actually spoken. He said that he heard these words spoken by him, so I'm not sure if that's going to actually be happening or not. But I'd be really surprised. I think a lot of bourbon fans would be pretty disappointed in that.
So speaking on the subject, I have heard also rumor. Don't take it for gospel. The Heaven Hill 6-year green label 90 proof is going away.
Oh, that's going away too?
And if they're coming back with the 7-year, the bottled and bond, that would kind of make sense, because here's pretty much the exact same thing at 10 proof points lower for a third of the cost. That's kind of hard to justify for them, that $40 price hike. Yeah, that one.
You can have
just for that. I'm going to open my lovely green label. I love it.
And since I had heard that, I was in Kentucky 2 weeks ago, and I may or may not have bought like a dozen bottles of the green label.
So now I know why I got so much chocolate.
You can have one or the other, but you can't have both. You know what I mean? I'll buy one just to try and have and review or whatever, but like I can't imagine having a $40 daily. I don't. I mean, when it comes out, I'm sure I'll put it in a blind with 101 because I'm the resident turkey homer. But as long as I can get Wild Turkey 101 for $22 or $23, it's going to be hard pressed to buy a Heaven Hill 7-year-old. And I might be in the minority. I thought the 6-year-old 100 proof for $12 or $13, I thought it was great, but I didn't like it as much as I liked 101 or some other. I mean, if you moved it up into that $20, $25 category, I didn't think it held up as well.
Oh yeah,
that's just me.
I mean, based on personal preference, but I think when people look at the whole picture, it did have an amazing flavor profile, the price of it. And you could say that about you could say that about Wild Turkey 101.
Yeah.
Like the quality of it, the value, what you're getting in that bottle. I mean, it's just kind of, it's two sides of wonderful, really,
Yeah. Well, the fact that you can walk out of a liquor store with 6-year-old 100 proof whiskey for less than $15, like if you were hard up and you were having to do what you had to do to make ends meet, I mean, you could do a lot worse for for your less than $15 to get that bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, and well, when it was $12, and we reviewed it, a while back, we told people, I said it's probably the best $12 bottle of whiskey, you'll get.
Yeah. No, I would agree with that, hands down.
Yeah.
But I just remember when it went, the word came out that they were going to shut it down. Stores were running the price up to $29, $30, and people were still buying it a case at a time. And it's like, if I got $30 to spend on one bottle, it ain't going to be on that.
Yeah.
So that's me and what I prefer. So
go ahead, Scotty.
I was gonna say real quick on the McKenna 10. I don't know y'all's markets, but here it's gone. I mean, I don't see it anywhere anymore now.
Oh, it's gone here too.
Yeah, it's I've seen it here once in the last 6 months here in Ohio. I literally just got a new bottle of it like 2 weeks ago, and that was the first time I've seen it in months here.
And what'd you pay for it?
$34.
Good.
I was at my Total Wine today, and they had it, but it was in the little lock box, and it was one per. But they had about 11 or 12 bottles, and I think it was $34 each.
That's good.
So again, $34 for a 10-year-old whiskey is probably a little bit underpriced, but and if they, going back to your rumor that if they make it a small batch, that doesn't make sense. I mean, you have this whiskey that among whiskey people was always just kind of this underground, like, you're going out of town to your brother-in-law's for a weekend and you're going to grab one bottle that, you don't mind if somebody wants to mix it with Coke or have it on ice or whatever, but you can still drink it neat and enjoy it. Like, I mean, you can do a lot of things with a bottle of McKenna 10, then goes to San Francisco and wins all these awards. And then you're going to take it from the single barrel and make it a small batch. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, that is not gospel. It's just what this guy said that he heard the master distillers say. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. And I think it'd be nuts if they did it, but if they did, I don't know.
I mean, I think they'd be better off, putting a price increase on it. For a 10-year-old 100 proof whiskey, $34 it's a great value because it's undervalued.
Well, it's interesting when you go to the distillery now. When I was there early last year, McKenna was on the shelf everywhere for $38 at the distillery, about $40.
Really?
Now when you go there now, it's behind glass with their William Heaven Hill series, and it's $70 a bottle.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Now, see, I will say I wouldn't mind if they tried to make it a small batch and not so much. They still kept it the 10-year age statement, right? Made it the same $35-$40, but made it a small batch. And I say that because the Henry McKenna bottles, at least around here, have had such a wide variation in flavor. I mean, some of them are borderline like undrinkable, and some of them are pretty good.
Yeah, that's a good point. They may have to do it just for if they want to keep up the availability and keep the consistency, they may have to start batching some of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
and I think that comes to the crux of what has happened with Henry McKenna. It won these awards 2 years in a row. People are grabbing bottles and probably like, this isn't that great, especially if they got a barrel that was a little bit off profile. So maybe they want a small batch it to keep that consistency. So like, okay, this is a damn good bourbon, and each bottle I'm going to get is going to be really, really good. So I could see that, but I think that would only work if they kept the if they want to increase the price $10, okay, I'm okay with that. But it can't be like an outlandish price increase if they're going to start small batching it.
I would agree with that because I mean, you can't help but get the feeling that there's Heaven Hill juice rolling out in a Henry McKenna 10 bottle that 4 or 5 or 6 years ago would have been batched into Elijah Craig 12, right?
Well, think about it though. Say, okay, so take a $35 price range on it now, and it's a single barrel, and you run the risk of getting a bad one. Yeah, but they create a small batch where they can be more consistent with it, but they charge you $45, and you're going to get a good bottle. Is that $10 worth it? I would say, yeah.
Yeah, I would agree, Scott.
Yeah.
You're not going to come on that honey barrel, though. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when you have those single barrels and have the date and the barrel number and all that other stuff, I mean, and I've done this a couple times, like, you pick one up if you see a new date or a new barrel, and it's okay, it's good, it's great, or it's a fine barrel, it's not super, you take it to a tailgate and you leave it, or you batch it with cocktails or this and that. But sometimes you'd come across one that it's a really strong barrel, and you write down what that barrel number is, and you go to the local stores in your area, and you try and pick you up some backups, right? I mean, we've all done that, been there, right?
I want to call out a couple people in the chat that mentioned this bottle right here, the Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
You shut your mouth right now.
Okay, it's terrible. It's awful. I'm sorry.
Which one? This one here? That one?
Yeah. Stop. Don't talk about it. That's one of my favorites, man. Stop.
Yeah, I know. You shut your mouth.
Shut it. Shutting up.
Actually, so we're not talking about Evan Williams anymore. You guys, what about Baker's now going the other way?
Yeah.
Baker's is now going to become a single barrel, but still keeping the 7-year and the 100% proof, the age statement, and that proof point. What do you guys kind of think of that one?
When I first heard this, I was excited because Baker's has always been one I've kind of liked. It's kind of like the redheaded stepchild of the Beam small batch lineup.
It's definitely the most underrated small batch. Absolutely.
It's the most, I mean, it all kind of had, you look at the slots, like, so Basil Hayden is like the entry level, right? So you want to you're graduating from makers on, ginger ale, and you want to try something different. Okay, we'll try an 80 proof Basil Hayden's. Knob Creek's the workhorse, Booker's is Booker's, and Baker's is just kind of like, hanging out like the third wheel. I was excited that it'd be part of the barrel program because 7 years and 107. I mean, that's a very traditional age and proof point. I mean, there's been a lot of great bourbons over the years that are at that mark, and I think that the Beam mash bill kind of shines there for me and what I like. But it's gonna get a price hike apparently to like $60, and it's not going to be part of the single barrel program.
At that price, you want to just go ahead and buy Booker's.
So I don't think they're doing it any favors. Maybe that's just me.
I would be really glad that they're doing the Baker single barrels, but or the barrel picks especially. But I would like to see a Henry McKenna barrel pick come back. Because my point with that is so you have this this inconsistency, right, in Henry McKenna right now. But if you look at barrel picks, you have, I would say, at least an 80, if not 90% chance that the barrel you're going to get is at least as good as what's sitting on the shelf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's at least as good as what's on there, if not better. And sometimes, more often than not, you get a really good barrel. Sometimes you get those super awesome honey barrels. But I would say, in my experience, I would say 80 to 90% of the time, it's at least as good as what's sitting on the shelf. Henry McKenna, I don't think they have that consistency of, you know what I mean? It's at least as good as, well, an average barrel. But
yeah, I think Baker's, the way it falls in Aaron actually brought up a good point with the, just saying, well, I would just buy a Booker's, because it does fall into a weird price point for Baker's. And it's neither, I don't know, it's weird. It's like neither as sweet as Knob Creek, but it's neither as strong as Booker's. So it kind of falls in this weird kind of.
It would be great if the price point isn't going to be what they're saying it's going to be.
So Baker's just recently had a price increase here in Ohio. You used to be able to get it here for about $50, and now it's getting to the $70 range.
What? No, get on out of here with that.
Yeah, and then Booker's is priced $10 higher at $80. So you can get a Booker's for $80, a Baker's for $70, and then you go all the way down the line for a Knob Creek single barrel at like $40-something. So for that price, I'm drinking Knob Creek.
Yeah,
there you go.
None of that makes sense to me at all. And I've said this maybe here on other streams or my friends here in town. Like, I like Baker's, and I'd like it a hell of a lot more at $10 less. It's 45 to 47 in South Carolina. If you kind of look around, that's where you're going to find it at. And I put it kind of on par with, a McKenna 10 or Four Roses single barrel, the 100 proof single barrel, just kind of the standard single barrel. That, I mean, I think that it should be mid to high 30s. I mean, if I could walk into a store with $40 or a little more than that and walk out with a Baker's, I think that'd be a pretty good deal. And it'd be and I'd work it into my daily rotation. But now it's 48, 49 plus tax, you're over 50. And kind of in my mind, like, if you're over $50 and you're over $100, those are pretty big markers for me. Like, if I'm paying more than $50 for a bottle of bourbon, like, it better meet certain benchmarks.
It better be at least a Russell's Reserve single barrel, right?
You damn right. all day long.
I know.
Scott, when's the last time you had do you remember ever having? When was the last time you had Baker's?
I don't think I ever have had. I have not had Baker's. No.
Really? Yeah. It's one of those weird, because like you see it on the shelf, you see the price, you're like, you're gonna buy Knob Creek.
No.
Yeah, I've always passed on it.
Yeah,
really.
I don't find it all that interesting. I really don't. But maybe I'll have to go revisit it.
Yeah, maybe they discovered like some of these single barrels that they're saving for Baker's are really exceptional. That's why they want to release it. I don't know. It's just it's an interesting decision for them to do that. So I'm curious of what that's going to turn into. But
what's the proof point right now on the regular Baker's?
107.
107.
And that's not changing with the single barrel thing. It's just they're not, instead of batching 100 barrels, they're going to bottle 100 barrels individually. So
you may end up with a good, like a really superb barrel. But
no. I mean, I'm gonna roll the dice to find out. Scott, right. I'll sample you some Bakers. Get me after this, and I've got an open one, and I'll shoot you some.
All right.
I will say that the Knob Creek single barrels, just the regular off the shelf single barrels, they're usually pretty consistent.
They are.
Yeah.
So maybe the Bakers will have that consistency that Heaven Hill just can't seem to do with the McKenna.
Yeah, I would agree. Between that and also the Russell's Reserve single barrels, I think those are the more consistent single barrel bottles that you get. I'm meaning the non-picks.
Yeah.
That you can find.
The shelfies.
Yeah, the shelfies. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, the picks can be all over the map. Obviously, especially when you're talking Wild Turkey with all the different warehouse locations. It's pretty interesting.
I see Bobby coming in.
Bobby,
what's up, buddy?
Hey. So I just real quick, Sam has today was the first day yesterday was the first day that she could drink alcohol since having her little surgery. And on top of that, she's on a liquid diet. So she was very easily overserved tonight, and she is passed out.
Basically, she's laying down, face down, drooling on the carpet.
That is exactly it, actually. I can send you pictures.
That's mean.
So Bobby, actually, I wanted to ask, a couple of people in the chat were asking what everyone's favorite budget bourbons are, or budget whiskeys, whether it be a bourbon. Actually, if everyone, I don't know if everyone here drinks Scotch as well, but if you could pick a budget Scotch and a budget bourbon that you always go to, that's cheap and delicious, what are those for you guys? I'm just curious.
So for me, hands down, it's my daily drinker is Old Granddad 114. That is, I just for $30, it sings to my palate. It's so good.
Do you have a Scotch that you go to as well that's a little bit more budget?
No, I don't have a budget Scotch. Like I'm still relatively new to the Scotch world, so I'm kind of I don't have a go-to. Now I do have an Irish Paddy Irish whiskey. It's something I last bought for about $17, and it's pretty good for $17 if you're in the mood for something a little more mellow. I really like that.
Yeah.
So for me, I would do mine in like a price category.
Yeah.
For me, it would probably be like Evan Williams Bottled and Bond.
You shut your mouth.
Wild Turkey 101,
Which one?
Well,
This bottle of the Evan Williams?
No, stop it. Put that away. Put that away.
Scott with the close-up shelfie.
So Evan Williams bottled in bond, Wild Turkey 101, Knob Creek single barrel, Russell's Reserve single barrel. That would be my.
Those are
you
your
probably
tiers.
throw Knob Creek in between
I was gonna say there's no Knob Creek in that list.
between the
What?
Four Roses and the Russells for price wise.
Yeah.
Four Roses. Where's the Russells? I mean, not Russells.
Do you guys still consider? And this is a question I've debated with a couple of other whiskey nerds. Do you guys still consider Wild Turkey 101 a budget whiskey? Because think about it. The flavor profile to me screams it's not a budget whiskey, but where it's priced, it says budget whiskey. And I think mentally in a lot of people's heads, people still think that it's kind of a cheaper whiskey. But I think as people try it and get to know it, they realize that it's way more than what it is. But being it's priced at 24, 25, 26 bucks.
I want to go by price.
Yeah. Exactly.
Who's paying that much? I get mine for 20.
I was about to say it's 21, 22 in South Carolina.
Yeah, I'm just throwing out prices, but I also buy the bigger bottle. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's north of 20 just about everywhere. And hand raised, I'm a turkey homer. You guys know this.
Spicy.
101, you put that in a blind with, among whiskey people with, some other nicer bottles. 101 consistently, people are like, what? That's no way, that's 101. Yeah, it's 101.
Yeah, I put that whiskey in blinds for people, and they can't believe it's Wild Turkey 101.
I do it all the time. People go to a bottle share, and I'll just get like whatever empty bottle I have, brown bag it up, put just a plain cork in that thing, just get a pour. Tell me what you think. How much you pay for that? No, there's no way. But
for me, I would say the Evan Williams bottled and bond shut my mouth is probably my go-to budget, and also one that I had recently that actually surprised me, which actually I thought was pretty good, was Benchmark 8.
Really?
I didn't think it was that terrible. It wasn't great, but I thought for a budget whiskey, it was pretty good.
To me, budget is less than $20.
Benchmark 8 I get here, it's like $10.
If you're on a budget and you walk in with a 20 and you get money back and you get a bottle of whiskey, like
It's a good day.
If it goes over an Andrew Jackson, then we're into like the value category. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
But to me, budget is less than 20. And for me right now, mellow, it used to be yellow label. It's mellow label, whatever they want to call it. The Four Roses 80 proof, and I like to drink over 100 proof or over.
That's a really good call out too.
This is great, especially, and again, I live in South Carolina. It's about 96 degrees when you wake up in the morning down here. So when I'm walking the dog in the evening, and I want to get a little tumbler on some ice, drink some whiskey when I might normally drink a beer. It's hard to beat the Four Roses, and there's really well-aged stock in this. When they still batch this, it's only 150 to 200 barrels, which really isn't that big in the grand scheme of things. And there's 12, 13, 14-year-old barrels going into this. Now, there's probably not a ton, but I saw an interview with Dan Gardner from Four Roses that if they're watching barrels and at 11 years they like it, in 12 years they like it, in 13 years it just turned into a damn oak bomb, that's stuff that they'll put a handful of those barrels when they're batching the yellow label to give it kind of that depth and give it some of that oak. And some of the younger barrels kind of smooth those edges out. So for me, less than $20. Four Roses used to be yellow label, but now it's just the beige label, if you will. But Four Roses 80 proof, pretty complex whiskey for the price point and the proof.
What about you, Scott? I know there's not many scotches for under that price, but
well, that's what I was going to say. First of all, I try not to drink cheap whiskey, but I do have the Evan Williams lineup. I've got the green label, the black label, and the white label. The bottle and bond, which we reviewed, we found those all surprisingly good values.
Mm-hmm.
The Heaven Hill 6-year bottle and bond, that would definitely fit that bill. I've got a couple bottles of that. And Weller Special Reserve, probably more my go-to.
Weller, that's a really good call out. Yeah.
Yeah. Maker's Mark. But Maker's Mark is hitting $24 a bottle here. Weller's I can get for $17, $18. So that's definitely fitting this bill. I'll drink Weller's every day for that.
Weller's Special Reserve I could still get here in Ohio for about $22. So yeah, I could find that. That's a good call out.
Yeah. Scotch is really nothing in that it's going to hit that price. The cheapest Tomatin does one. It's called the Dualcus. You can probably find for the low 20s, which would be the best one in that range, and it's not a bad Scotch at all.
What about the Dewar's White Label or Dewar's 12 or whatever it is?
Dewar's 12 is higher. Dewar's White Label, I haven't had that for a long time. You're probably still paying upper 20s for that though.
Haven't had it in a long time as French Fritz. Probably not that good.
Yeah.
Hey guys, don't forget about White Walker. Come on.
Yeah.
That's like $40.
Yeah, that was too. Red Label is better. Now, that'd be one of your better, cheaper scotches you're going to get for like $22, $23 would be Johnny Walker Red Label.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it.
Actually, Scott, I'd be curious to get your. A lot of people call out Monkey Shoulder. What are your impressions on Monkey Shoulder?
Well, no, I like Monkey Shoulder, but you're hitting 30, low 30s.
35-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's a blend. It's nice for that price range, definitely.
So I did find, speaking of really cheap whiskeys, I found some ancient age down in Mississippi recently.
You said you broke that bottle.
I broke one of them.
Yeah, you mean the one bottle you said that I told you to go back and get some, and you said
I said they didn't have any more, and that wasn't a lie. That store didn't have any more. I found another store.
Ancient age. Yeah, that's a good call out too. That's a really good. That's a good budget.
You shut your mouth.
I'm sorry, it's terrible.
Buffalo Trace.
I don't see ancient age around that often.
That's really good for a 90.
I've never seen it around Tennessee ever.
That is really good.
You can find the ancient age.
Yeah, ancient age you can find everywhere, but ancient age, the 10-star is a little bit more of a unicorn.
I never seen in Kentucky either.
That used to be 10 years old.
Everywhere in Mississippi.
Yeah, that is the 10-year, isn't it?
Yeah,
10-star, not 10-year.
Yeah.
Oh,
but before it was 10-star, it was 10-year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of got that weird labeling like Dickel has, where they have a big 12 and a big 8, but it's not actually 12 or 8 years old.
Like the Burial Barton.
Yeah, exactly.
It used to be 6 year, now it's just 6.
Used to be bottled in bond, now it's not.
Yeah, that too.
This is an interesting bottle which I picked up recently, which is the Wathins, which has. Do you see the 8 on the front where it says 8
generations?
But it's not 8 years old. It's 8 generations.
So I was walking in my grocery store the other day, and I walked past the Wathins, and I did an about face because I thought they had Elmer T. Lee.
It is the same freaking bottle. I'm convinced.
Yeah.
It's the same bottle. It's crazy.
Big disappointment.
Yeah.
It's like Caribou Crossing. I'll see it across the store, and I'll be like, Rock Hill Farms. God.
There's another one. I think it's not Glen. It's something Creek. And it's at my local store, and people see pictures of it. They're like, "Is that an Old Label Weller?" Like,
no. Yeah. I saw that in Colorado everywhere. That was crazy. I thought it was an old Weller bottle, but it was
every time you saw it, you're like, "Yes, no."
Yeah. You're like, "Oh, what is this?"
I had to go look, but that same bottle of Wathins I have, we never reviewed it because it was. I mean, it's okay. It wasn't anything.
It's a single barrel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
8 generations, which I'd never even noticed before. But
I have the Wathins barrel proof, so I'm gonna do a review of both of them side by side at some point. But yeah, the 8 really kind of deceived me at first. I thought that was kind of an interesting label.
Didn't Old Charter used to be aged 8 years, and now they just have an 8 there? But it's
yes.
It used to be a 10-year, didn't it?
I've got Old Charter 8-year.
Yeah. Now there's an 8 there, but it's not aged 8 years. It's just
They just took a little X-Acto knife to it. They had got a bunch of summer interns. They went out there and pull all these out of the boxes and cut this off.
Yeah, man. In the age of, I feel like now that age statements were going away, all of a sudden now they're coming back, which I find very interesting.
So I'm hoping that's like the tipping point of this is them ramping up stocks and starting to get more stuff back out on the market and more age stuff, available.
They've been ramping up for a while. I mean, we still got a few more years to go, but I mean, they've been building rick houses and running those stills damn near 24/7 for 10 months a year for at least for enough that they can build up for the 5-6 year old core offerings that they can kind of take some of the stress off the older stocks, which I think that's kind of what we're all generally interested in. So
I'm perfectly happy in that like 8 to 12 year range. Perfectly happy.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm right in there too. I like that 8 to 12 year range. Absolutely.
8 to 12. I'm with you 100% on that.
Bobby, what are you over there drinking?
Well, I haven't decided. I brought a couple of bottles downstairs with me, but I feel like we just reviewed it today and it's awesome. I'm gonna pour a Peerless bourbon.
Nice.
Oh, I was going to ask that earlier if anybody had gotten a hold of that yet.
Yeah, I went and stood in line in the rain, and really impressed. Like if you keep in mind that it's a 4-year, it's absolutely amazing. Like because it doesn't come across that way at all.
Kind of like the new riff, you'd say.
I was about to say, how would it compare to a new riff?
I think it blows the doors off a new riff.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would.
Interesting.
So Bobby was kind enough to bring the bottle to my house when we did our collective live stream, and then he left the bottle for me to review, and then I sent it back to him, and then he reviewed it. And I think we got. I think Bobby. I think we were pretty spot on with some of the notes and some of the tastings in it. But I mean, that is probably the best 4-year-old bourbon I've ever tried.
Yeah, and it's not even close.
It's not even close.
Really? Because I've been pretty pleased with New Riff. I've been there. I've helped pick a barrel, like their experience at New
this
Riff.
has nothing. This is nothing against New Riff.
Yeah,
it's just that what Peerless has done. It's remarkable. The mouthfeel on that bourbon for a 4-year-old bourbon is incredible.
It's only going to go up from there.
That's the best part.
So I got to stop you guys real quick. DJ Beacon sent a super chat. He said, so over an hour of him start drinking high proof stuff. Cheers to everyone. Cheers to you, DJ.
DJ.
Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. I love DJ. He's a good
This
dude.
was a new riff rye. Just saying. It was really good.
And this was the ancient age. Now gone. Thanks, DJ.
So, hey, what's the price point on that 4-year-old Peerless bourbon?
So at the distillery, it was $79 plus tax. So, yeah.
So why were the 2-year-old ryes $120 or $130?
I don't know.
Like, they're still sitting on the shelves down here, and like it's kind of turned me off a little bit to them because it's like, hey, we got this Peerless barrel, and I'm like, okay, tell me about it.
Well, I was fortunate enough to do a 2-hour interview with Caleb Kilburn, the master distiller, and obviously the rye was being made before he was a master distiller, but even before he came in, look, you can knock them for the price, and I understand that. $120 for a 2-year rye, $100 for a 3-year. It's a lot of money for a young whiskey. But with that said, they are doing things that are completely looking into the quality of what you're getting in the bottle.
Yeah.
And it's a low entry proof. It's non-chill filtered. They're using a sweet mash, which is a way more expensive.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize the cost of what goes into doing a sweet mash, because remember, every time you make a new batch of whiskey, you're cleaning out everything that you've done in their distillery for the batch previous.
Yeah.
It's not like a sour mash where you're bringing a little bit of that distillate and you're bringing it into the next batch.
Yeah.
You're cleaning out everything, which means more manpower for cleaning everything out, more man hours. It goes into it. So they're also got even the bottle design that they did was collectively designed by the crew that works at Peerless. It wasn't done by a designer. This is probably one of the most family oriented, besides Wild Turkey, one of the most family oriented,
interesting
new distilleries that I've seen, where everybody is a part of what they're producing. I mean, different people that work throughout that distillery pick out the single barrels, their favorites. Everybody's kind of involved in the process.
Really? Okay.
So
that's good to know.
Yeah, there is a cost that comes with that, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
They poured so much money into the place when it first opened. I think some of that price goes into recouping a little bit of that.
Yeah. And I can understand that.
But Caleb did mention that as they're producing more, now nothing that they produce now is going to be under 4 years old. That's what he told me.
Nice.
So everything.
If their cost starts to come down, then hopefully the price reflects that.
And that's exactly what he said. As their costs come down, as they start selling more and producing more and getting more of this whiskey out there, their costs will come down. It's just that for a brand new, I mean, I know they have the history, but when they're reviving this this distillery and they're putting all this quality back into the bottle and out into the to the masses, it's going to be expensive. They're trying to make some of their money back to get their newer whiskey. It's listen, it's for the person that's just getting into bourbon or rye and seeing it, it's going to be like, this is crazy expensive. But when you look at it from a business perspective, it does make sense for them.
You can understand why it is. I just my initial gut reaction was, it's a 2.5-year-old rye. It's $114. Like, how in the hell? Like, how much is their 4-year-old bourbon going to cost? Well, it's going to be less than the rye. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than.
I remember their rye was their first release. Then they released a 3-year rye, and they also have amazing single barrels that they're charging about $100 to $120 for, that they're making money on also. And then you have, so I think in turn that made the bourbon process a little bit, they were able to price it a little bit more effectively than their ryes initially. But like Bobby said, it's one of the most impressive 4-year bourbons I've ever had.
Have you had the Wilderness Trail? I know they're also sweet mash, also in that 4 to 5 year
bourbon
range.
I would put Wilderness Trail right up there with Peerless with what they're doing.
The
rye bourbon, they're again same type of quality, sweet mash, non-filtered,
low entry proof.
Low entry proof. I mean, they're doing all the right things, and I've heard, I haven't had one yet, but I've heard their single barrels that are coming out are absolutely amazing, and I can't wait to get my hands on one of those.
Yep.
So I like what Wilderness Trail is doing, but I wouldn't pay $80 for a bottle of their bourbon, and I would pay $80 for another bottle of the Peerless.
Well, Bobby, have you had the rye bourbon from Wilderness Trail? I know when you were here, we tried the wheated bourbon.
Right.
But I don't think we tried the rye one, because the rye one was pretty close to the Peerless. I still like the Peerless a little better, but it was pretty close.
I can't. I don't think I've tried it. I can't remember.
Well, hey guys, saying goodnight to everyone. I've been up forever. Good night. Everyone in the chat, good night. Y'all have a wonderful evening. Continue to drink. Have fun. Good night.
Good night.
Wheaters generally need a little bit more time in the wood than the rye bourbons.
Yeah, the Wilderness Trail 4-year rye was a little bit more of a cereal quality to it, which we definitely picked up.
Kind of grainy.
Yeah, it was very grainy. But the rye-based bourbon, the traditional rye mash bill that they released is really, really good. So,
what is Peerless's bourbon mash bill? Do we know? Are they rye or wheater or?
It's rye, but I would guess, and Bobby, what do you think? I said on my review that I think it's a high rye bourbon. What do you think?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. It has a lot of rye notes probably stand out more than anything, but I couldn't find anything as far as a mash bill, but I would estimate that it is definitely a high rye mash bill.
It definitely finishes like a rye. It's got a lot of spice to it. So yeah.
Jason, speaking of rye, this Michter's Barrel Proof is freaking phenomenal.
I'm gonna pour some with you, buddy.
Now I saw you drinking the toasted barrel though earlier. Has that showed back up, or do you got a new batch there?
I haven't seen any of the toasted barrel around here.
Oh, I thought that's what you had earlier. Was it just the barrel string?
Oh yeah, it's just the barrel proof rye. So
yeah, I don't know if I want to pour my Michter's Barrel Proof or get into some ancient age. Because
that ancient age was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
You've inspired me, Kyle.
I'm a trendsetter. What can I say? I'm actually going to go in with some Russell's single barrel rye.
Bobby, before you came on, we were talking a little bit about Baker's moving over to a single barrel. What do you think of Baker's?
It's fine. I still really like Booker's. I don't know. We'll see. I'm kind of taking the wait and see approach.
I'm with you. I'm not a huge Baker's fan, so I'll try it and see. I love Knob Creek and I love Booker's, but Baker's just doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, what Russell's Reserve are you sipping there? Oh, he's getting up.
I went with a little Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Ooh.
Gotta be a favorite. Which one?
C918.
That's my favorite batch in the world so far. I love the C918. It's amazing.
I actually just passed up when I was down in Mississippi. They had freaking shelves full of it.
Really?
Of the C918, and I passed up on it. So maybe
stupid human.
It sounds like from everything you're saying, I need to plan a trip to Mississippi.
You can't ever pass it up. You got to buy at least one every time you see it.
Well, yeah. I bought an A119, so that was my purchase.
The C918, man, that thing is on another level. I did a blind against George C. Stagg, and I picked the Elijah Craig C918.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Kyle, great job on your Stag review that dropped earlier this week.
Oh yeah,
1 week ago. Yeah.
Very, very good. And y'all had it pegged right about where I would have put it. 150, 175, I'd give you for a Stag. North of 200, I'd probably keep my money. So, but it's damn good bourbon, and you can't argue that either way.
Right. So when I was doing the editing on that video, I was looking at it, I was like, man, this thing's like 20 something minutes long. I was like, I got to find a way to cut this down. And I was like, there wasn't a whole lot to cut out. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought it was all just.
No, it was all, yeah.
But
yeah, that was really good content for people that are into Stag. Absolutely, man. Good job on that video.
Stag commands your 20 minutes, sir.
But I mean, honestly, like I've kind of always felt that way. Like I've found Stag for $400 a bottle. I'm like, I'm not paying it. I'll give you two for it, but I'm not. Yeah. That's kind of my limit, and I'm glad that's that held true. So.
I love the Stag, but I think about 150 would be my limit on it. I mean, it's a damn good bourbon, but come on. Ugh.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. I can't think of much that I'd pay north of 200 for that's currently available or released right now. Now, cheesy gold foil or some dusty turkey, that's a different thing. But something that's currently available or limitedly available, Kyle gives me a hard time about it, but how many Russell's picks can I buy with this money? And that's just kind of my measuring stick on north of $50. So if you want $300 for something, it's like, well, I can get damn near a case of Russell's for that. So
What about, so you're not going to buy the Van Winkle 12-year lot B for $600?
I gotta, my battery's about to die. I don't know what's going on with this thing. Whatever. A friend of mine actually was very generous. He went into a Costco when they were putting their Van Winkle into the case, and Billy was like, "Hey, can I buy one of those?" And he's like, "You just want one?" Billy's like, "Well, how much can I buy?" And it was an old rip, a lot B, and a 15. He's like, "You can buy all 3 of them," and he got them at MSRP.
Oh,
and,
nice.
And he sold me the lot B at cost, and I held on to it for like 2 years, and I finally opened it up, and I was like, "That's it."
Yeah.
I'm like, it was good. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
I enjoyed it. I appreciated it, but I was just like, people pay $600 for this? Like, you've got to be kidding me.
Scott, you did a really interesting. I remember when you had said, I don't remember if this was a video or if I saw it on a live stream, that you did the Weller 12 and the Van Winkle 12 next to each other, and you couldn't really tell the difference. And I totally agreed with that.
Yeah,
I did the same thing.
Yep. No,
Sam and I did
times.
blind, and I personally had lot B behind OWA, Weller 12, and the Special Reserve.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. That is a condemnation.
There you go.
Well, and the only problem I have with that, though, is that Weller 12 now is in this unattainable status as well.
Yeah.
The secondary is soaking that thing up. There's several liquor stores in Wichita selling that for $199. And I've asked them, I go, I know, but I'm like, do you sell it for that? And they're like, oh, yeah, all the time.
I would ask them, so why do you still have it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why is it still sitting on the shelf, buddy?
Yeah. Nice museum you got there is generally my comment on that. I don't know. My phone's about to die, so I might have to jump off here in a minute. But
all right, Bryant.
Appreciate you coming on, Bryant.
Appreciate it, guys. Hey,
Cheers.
I feel very much like the country cousin here. We got the Scotch Test Dummy and the Mash and Drum guys, and I'm just, nobody from Instagram. But I enjoyed hanging out with you guys, and cheers, and y'all have a good one.
You're always
good. You had good information, Bryant. Appreciate it.
Man. Anytime you want to talk turkey, man. So I'm all in it.
We'll do it, man. Y'all be good.
Take care, good night, Bryant.
Cheers, buddy. Good night.
Later.
Some people in the comments are talking about Stag Junior, that they wouldn't pay $70 for it. Some of them would. What do you guys think about Stag Junior?
It's been a while since I've had it. It's $50 here. You can find it most stores that you go into. Now, there was one batch, I think it was last year, a lot of people was really raving about that I kept looking for. Yeah. I never found it. I never picked it up. But I've had a couple of other bottles. They're always good, but I never found the one from last year that was really good.
Last year's batch was really good, and batch 9 is always known as the stellar batch. So
what's the proof on that one?
They were really good. Batch 9 is, I have one here. Hold on.
Was it like was it the 131 or like 129, something like that?
It's 126.4, or let me see here. I'll look it up.
Come on, go for memory.
Yeah, I know Bobby doesn't get any Stag Junior up in Kentucky.
131.9 is batch 9.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. I get no Stag Junior in Kentucky at all. I would that to me is absolutely worth $70. I had the deal of a lifetime. Somebody recently reached out to me who he said, "Hey, I'll trade you a Stag Junior for a new riff bottled in bond." And I was like, I can't do that, man. That's not fair. Like, I'm totally ripping you off. And he's like, I can't get new riff. And I got Stag Junior for days. And I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Right. I had the same thing recently. Someone wanted Buffalo Trace for one of their OWAs. I was like, sure, man. If I can grab one for, I can get Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare here all day long. Apparently some parts of the country, they haven't seen them in like years.
That's crazy to me, because my Kroger's right now probably has at least 50 bottles on an end cap of Buffalo Trace.
Right. Yeah. Last time I was up in Kentucky too, they had, like you said, an end cap, and it had like tons and tons of bottles of the 750s, and then a whole bunch of like the handles, and it was all over. But
yeah, every week here in Ohio, we get the big handle. Well, not handles, but we get those huge the liter bottles of Weller Special Reserve. We've gotten the last 3 weeks. We got like about 5-6 cases of Weller Special Reserves comes in. But we only get about maybe a couple cases of Weller Antique. But yeah,
has it started to slow down recently?
No, if anything, it's gained. Especially for the Special Reserve, got more and more of that each week because they want to put it. They want to get to a point where it goes on the shelf, rather than just stay like behind the counter as like a one person only thing. So
right.
But the antique still goes behind the shelf because it's not as much in the Special Reserve. But
so,
yeah, Stag Junior is nowhere to be found in Ohio. I haven't seen it anywhere. At least in Central Ohio, there's no Stag Junior anywhere.
Reed Reynolds, real quick, is asking OWA or ECBP.
Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
Definitely Elijah Craig.
Yeah.
Listen, if you can find, but both of, I mean, there's so many stipulations on both of those, though, too. If you can't find Elijah Craig barrel proof, go for I've got several bottles of OWA.
Yeah,
I love it too. But also keep in mind, it's a weeded mash bill where ECBP is a rye, so ECBP is a little bit spicier. It comes off hotter. I mean, outside of the ABV.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That's what I was going to say, Scott, because if you're in the mood for a little bit more of OWA does have a little bit of a spice, but it's more proof than spice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whereas the Elijah Craig barrel proof, that has a lot of rye spice to it. It's got a lot of alcohol to it. So I think it really depends on what you like more, whether you get one or the other. It's not like comparing Elijah Craig barrel proof to Stag Junior, where you could probably pick out some differentiations that you might like better. I feel like OWA and Elijah Craig barrel proof are kind of two sides of the spectrum. So
it's literally like a daily drinking standpoint, I'd probably pick OWA. But if I was just having one pour for the night and I wanted something exceptional, Elijah Craig.
Yeah, definitely. You're in a store and they have both bottles sitting there. You can only buy one. Which one are you buying? I'm buying ECBP.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm ECBP all day. Yep.
I love OWA, but absolutely ECBP.
Yeah. They're both good in their own right. They're both good. So I mean, they're just a little bit different. So it kind of depends what you can get, how much is it, if you find the one or the other. But
I've got an OWA store pick here that is wonderful. It is fabulous, and I would trade it happily for a regular Elijah Craig barrel proof any day.
And people on the secondary would take you up on that offer. Because for some reason, Elijah Craig has no secondary value. And for the record, I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I am okay with that.
It's amazing to me that Elijah Craig barrel proof will sell in the secondary for $80 to $90. But a Weller Antique will sell for over $100, which is just boggles my mind.
Or $200 now for the 12-year.
Yeah. Yeah,
that happened. It seemed like overnight. I was like, "What the hell happened? These used to be $100, and I wouldn't even pay $100 for it."
Yeah,
it's because the masses find out. Even if you talk to somebody that doesn't know anything about bourbon, the one thing that they do know is that Weller is Pappy juice.
It's Pappy Light.
Pappy Light. Yeah. So they're like, oh my God, Weller, I gotta buy it. It's a $200 bottle.
They walk in wearing their pink shirt with the collar popped up, and they're like, "You got any of that Pappy stuff?"
Yeah,
You got any of them Wellers?
Yeah, when I was in Kentucky not too long ago, and we went to Buffalo Trace, there was a whole bachelor party of those dudes that came out, and they were like, "Oh my God, like Blanton's is like the best dude." Yeah. you got any of that Weller 12 in like the back? I'm like, are you guys really asking this question right now? And like Freddie Johnson was literally like in the next room giving a tour. I'm like, oh, this poor guy. I hope he doesn't hear this.
People that buy Van Winkle 12 Lot B for $600 or more.
Yeah, they have no idea.
They've got no idea, but they've got to crack that barrel and just be like, what?
I hope, or less, sometimes the brain kicks in where you open a bottle that's that expensive and you just taste it. And even though deep down that it's not that good, you still have to be like, oh, that's the best.
Yeah, it's probably the thing is, it's not the whiskey drinkers that are doing that. We know it's not that good. It's just the people that have the money and don't know, and they buy it and think they're getting a great deal.
Taters.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen more bachelor parties and stuff at Buffalo Trace and doing tastings, and they taste like Pappy 15. And I mean, it's a damn good bourbon, but they act like they're drinking the nectar of the gods. And there's so many different bourbons I would take over that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Side by side with Pappy 15, I'll take this. And this isn't cheap, but I'll take Old Fitz 14. I think way ahead of Pappy 15.
I would take ECBP C918 over any Pappy I've ever had.
Yeah,
hands down.
Probably any ECBP, not even just the C91.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just picking out my favorite, but yeah, I could get on board with that. I mean, it's good, but the prices that people are paying for Pappy is just insane. It's crazy. I still can't believe the price it's commanding.
I know you guys remember my Better Than Pappy video. And by the way, golden comments still roll in on that on a weekly basis. Someone said those are not better than Pappy, actual Pappy. And LOL on store picks, line out the door. Bellmead sucks, isn't close. There are good MGP brands, but their own mash bill, which isn't close. You pick the worst MGP bottling. All Four Roses are shit. Worst bourbon there is. The Russell's is the only bourbon that could be as good. The Wild Turkey is shit. The Revival is their only good one.
The Revival is their only good one?
Who is that, first of all?
Yeah, he just lost all credibility with that statement.
I don't remember who it was. I'd have to find the comment again. Someone was saying that Wild Turkey doesn't even produce their own juice. I was like,
what?
What? Like, Wild Turkey, what?
Yeah, but listen, man, you're gonna put out a video like that, dude. You're gonna get it. That's a controversial video right there.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna have.
The majority of the comments that were good on it.
Yeah, so let me ask you. Your comments that were positive on it were probably more educated whiskey drinkers, and then you got the people that probably don't know a lot outside of Pappy that probably were shitting on you. So
right, and then you know what? Honestly, I could care less. I stand by what I said.
Yeah.
So anyway, we are rolling up on that like hour and a half mark. So I know I got a family function to do tomorrow. Anything you guys want to talk about? Anything you guys want to say?
Yeah, you wanting to close this down because you got a family function tomorrow.
Get your priorities straight, man.
What do you got, a graduation or some shit tomorrow? What are you doing?
Right. No, actually, so get this shit, okay? Our town, because I live in hillbilly hell in Tennessee, we're doing 4th of July tomorrow.
What?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So,
oh my God, Aaron's awake. She's alive.
Literally tomorrow, like all the small towns around here are celebrating 4th of July because 4th of July falls on a Thursday and not on a weekend. So obviously that makes sense to have it damn near a week early.
And he's saying this because fireworks start at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So we have a family function tomorrow.
Isn't it still light out at 7?
Or not 8. Here.
Oh, not here. Okay.
Nah,
It sucks here.
we're so close to the time change.
We're on the west side of the time change.
Okay.
So yeah, I was like, so is 4th of July not on 4th of July anymore? Like,
And I'm off again because I got a phone call.
yeah,
all we need is
he's got more important shit to hang out with us.
we need is Sam to resurrect somehow now.
That ain't happening. I can tell you right now. She crashed hard.
Yeah.
Tell her Roy is in here.
She might get up for that.
Yeah, she might just be like, "Hey, Roy's on. He wants to talk to you." That's it. She'll be right up. Oh my goodness!
I just poured some more Sazerac rye just for good measure.
I just found a bottle out here in Ohio. Actually, to bring that, yeah, it's interesting. I haven't had a lot of Sazerac rye, but it's pretty good rye.
It is for $30 or whatever it is. It's pretty fantastic.
We reviewed that several years ago, and it was still like the $22 range. It was before like one of the main price increases that they saw. And the fact is, I still have some of that bottle here. I don't find myself going to my ryes that much.
Yeah. Speaking of ryes, has anyone seen the new Wild Turkey Cornerstone out yet anywhere?
No, but I want to.
Yeah, I want to see it, but I don't know where it is.
Although I heard they raised the price on it to like $180, which
it was originally supposed to be $160, $180. Ooh,
yeah, I'm questioning that.
Yeah, that's tough.
I have a hard time paying the $150 already. So,
what makes it that much? What is it?
It's a Wild Turkey Master's Keep, but it's their first.
Oh,
this is the one that comes in the nice big box that opens up, but it's the first rye Master's Keep that they've released.
Gotcha.
And Wild Turkey makes a good rye, but they're not really. Nobody really ever talks about that rye, surprisingly.
Mm-hmm. I've got the 101 rye.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a good rye. It's very citrusy. Yeah, it's a good rye.
It's
and for the money as well.
Yeah, good cocktail rye, I think. Absolutely.
Okay, Scott, if I can put you on the spot here, totally unrelated to anything we've been talking about, but since you're here, I had a buddy give this to me today, and just let me know if you've ever heard of it. So this is a dusty 1970 teacher's Scotch.
Highland Cream.
Yes.
Yep.
Is that
okay, so that would fall into the budget Scotch category. That was probably $20. It's not bad. A lot of people use that in mixers, rusty nails, whatnot. So it's been a while since I've had it. It should be actually pretty decent.
My buddy's big into collecting dusties, and he ended up with this through whatever trade or whatever, and he's like, he just brought it over and was like, "Here, man, have it." And I was like, "I can't take it." And he's like, "I hate Scotch. Just take it." Okay.
Well, a lot of people in the chat are asking about the Weller Full Proof. I could tell you from what I've heard, Buffalo Trace is still figuring out distribution where it's going to go. But it'll start popping up pretty soon, I think. I do not know what the first, Buffalo Trace is one of the hardest to predict where their stuff's going to pop up. So I don't know where they have their first batches of Weller Full Proof popping up, unfortunately. But I do know that probably, I know they said June you would start seeing it, but I'm sure it's in some stores so far. They just haven't put it on the shelf yet. But I really feel like July you'll start seeing it. Personally, I'm doing a pick for Weller Full Proof in July, which I won't see until November. But you're going to start seeing it pretty soon. So
I know I've seen some of our local groups have already done like full proof picks.
Yeah.
So it's got to be coming soon.
It's coming soon. So the thing with Kyle, I mean, Kyle, you know, Buffalo Trace, it's hard to kind of track where their stuff's going to pop up, you know, at first sight.
A lot of times it seems like there is no rhyme or reason to it.
Exactly. There is no rhyme or reason. I mean, I feel like Weller stuff pops up the most usually in Texas for some reason.
Right.
So I don't know if that's where you'll see Weller foolproof first, but you know,
that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, but I always feel like, you know, Kentucky should always be the first place that pops up, but you know, you never know. It doesn't always work that way.
Well, Texas is like the land of the Wellers.
Yeah. As you know, I live in Kentucky and I have to go to Ohio to get my Weller. So
I never saw the Weller CYPB here, so I doubt I would see the full strength.
Yeah, Weller CYPB here in Ohio was a lottery pick at the end of the year last year. So unless you won it, you weren't getting a bottle. So,
but again, you're looking at an 8-year-old wheated bourbon that was snatched up off of the market, and people were selling for what, $300, $400 on the secondary.
Yeah, I saw a bottle for $500 recently. Yep.
Jeez.
Yeah, and it's not even nearly. I would take 107 over it any day of the week.
Any day. The CYPB had this weird, crazy finish on it that wasn't good, like to me at all.
It's you know, like with the Weller 107, you get a ton of sweetness on the front, and then you get that nice little bit of an alcohol burn that kind of keeps you going back for more sips. The Weller CYPB was alcohol, like kind of overlaying all the flavors from front to back, and I hated it. I'm like, this is.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It really wasn't.
Yeah. Like, and you know, Scott, I remember you bringing up a good point. Like, you know that this is bullshit. They didn't crowdsource and then make what they wanted. They had this shit around for years, and they're like, "Oh, this is what they kind of want. All right, let's just freaking throw this in a new label."
Yeah. Yeah, they did the whole survey thing. You know, what's your favorite age range? What's your favorite mash bill? What's your favorite warehouse? You know, what's your favorite wood, blah blah blah. Oh, and then 8 months later, here it is. And
if you look at the stats, if you look at the stats of the CYPB, no true whiskey enthusiast, bourbon enthusiast would have picked those stats.
That's what I was gonna say. Who's taking this survey that's a whiskey geek? That was like, well, I only want an 8-year at 90 proof, and come on now, come on.
I want an 8-year 90 proof that's all alcohol flavored. That'd be my favorite. That's the guys with the flipped up.
Only be 90 proof. Is that okay?
Yeah. That's the dudes with the flipped up pink collars that are like, that'll be delicious, man.
So it's like, all right. So you guys say that you don't have enough Weller to go around, but yet you have enough Weller for all these fucking labels and. That you want to come out with. It's like, come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah. Buffalo Trace is probably one of the most maddening distilleries out there. I mean, they control the market. Anything they put out is highly coveted. It's amazing.
It's golden.
It is. Any new release that's coming out, it's incredible. I mean, the Charter Oak series that they released last year was a Mongolian oak. This year it's a French oak. That's part of Buffalo Trace. I haven't even laid eyes or seen a bottle of that stuff.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
I got to try one today. It was barrel 154, so there's roughly like 190-ish barrels of these.
Was it the Mongolian or the French?
It was the French. It was the new one.
Okay.
And so it was barrel 154, and it was a rye. And I tasted it, and I'm like, that was amazing. This was like almost BTAC level rye. It was awesome. And I'm like, sweet. Like, I can't believe I got to try this. And I'm never, if I wanted to find another bottle of the 154, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that was $80 for, I didn't pay it. Somebody let me try it. $80 for a 375 milliliter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then they released the Single Oak Project, which is another set 375 milliliter bottle series that they bring out based on different they use different trees, different types of oak styles, different types.
I'm sorry, that was what I tried. I completely shit.
Oh, that's the one you tried, the single oak project.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Bobby.
Jesus, Bobby, you just ruined your whole argument. Shit.
Right. I stand by what I said. I was just wrong.
Actually, I haven't I haven't tried any of those though, Dick. So
yeah, I never see the single oak projects. I don't know when they come out, where they come out. I've never seen it. I see them on the secondary, and I will say that I was the dumb shit because when you see the pictures on the secondary, the bottle shape looks like a regular BTAC release bottle. Like it looks like that tall, thin, like wine bottle looking type aspect to it. And then when I ordered it and I got it, the thing came in and it was a little 375. I'm like, holy shit! I paid $150 for this. There's no whiskey. Yeah.
Wow.
There's no whiskey in it because I never tried one. I thought it was a full 750.
Well, yeah, when you look at a picture of it with nothing up against it, it looks like a regular bottle.
That's the thing. And I had no idea that the single oak projects released like that. So it was it was 375 rather than a 750. And when it came, I'm like, wow, I got screwed. But I will say it was very good. The bottle that I had was actually a very unique and good bottle, but I would never buy one again.
All right, so I thought I had some 107 open, apparently not. So I'm gonna pour some special reserve, and I also brought some Blonde Brothers.
Is that the Natter bourbon?
It is.
That's probably one of the most unique bourbons I've tried in a long time.
This is an 11-year store pick.
Yeah. I have some too. I have a 12-year cast strength bottle too. Love it.
They're so freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, they're really good. But it's MGP.
Yeah, you can go figure.
But good stuff. Now, Kyle, do you know does Blonde Brothers do anything to it once they source it? Do they age it in another cask, or are they just buying very unique barrels?
I think they're just buying unique barrels. I don't think they're doing anything with it.
Okay.
Non-filtered. And that's about it. That's all it says anyway. It says when exposed to cold temperatures or cold people, a slight haze may occur. This is normal because flavor.
Yeah, their labels are the best.
The oldest straight bourbon whiskey we never distilled.
Actually, I wanted to ask you guys if you've seen or heard or seen anything. Now, this label was released months ago, and I haven't seen anything on it. It's the Colonel Taylor, what is it? The Amaranth Grain of the Gods or something?
Yeah, I saw that same stuff on social media that was going around. But
yeah,
I remember the label, but I haven't seen anything about it since.
I haven't seen it, heard about it, or nothing about it. So I'm wondering where Amaranth Grain of the Gods or something it's called.
Yeah, I remember that.
Do you remember? Yeah, remember seeing that?
Yeah. Same boat. Sorry.
Yeah, like the day it gets released, you're going to see it all over Instagram and Facebook and everything else.
Yeah.
So
it still boggles my mind that the 4 grain and the Tornado Survivor bottle are still going for $800, $1,000 on the second.
The last Tornado Survivor I saw was like $2,000.
Yeah, the Tornado Survivor is going even higher, like $2,000, $3,000. Yeah, it's crazy.
So, over at the Chattanooga Whiskey Society, there's a dude that has a Tornado Survivor, and he opened it up. He doesn't even like it, so he just brings it to all of the whiskey meetings. And
it's a bourbon. Okay, that's all it is. It is. It was in casks. It was in a warehouse that fell down from a tornado, or the roof was tore off of it. And it's just bourbon.
Exactly. Like it literally tastes like a slightly off-profile E.H. Taylor small batch.
Yeah, if the barrel got whisked up in the tornado, spun around.
Yeah, I've seen this in a movie one time. I seen this in a movie, and there was a cow going around with it.
Yes.
Now, if they said, like, we found this barrel, like 20 miles from the distillery, I'd be like, cool, man, that thing went on a fucking trip.
Yeah, it caused it to really interact with the wood.
Yeah, it like landed on the Wicked Witch of the West, like killed her. And then somehow they got it back.
Rolled up into the barrel.
Now they have a rick house where they're trying to emulate that with that's got like a sunroof on it and everything. And I think it's funny that they're trying to recreate it when essentially it's not really probably all that different.
It's literally not. It's not different.
It's the same mash bill or one of their variations of the mash bill that's aged in freaking oak. For like 6 years.
Especially the cows add lactose sweetness to the bourbon.
That's what I'm saying. If only the bourbon, if only that those 4 or 5 barrels was swirling around the tornado, landed in Oz, killed the Wicked Witch of the West, and brought back to Kentucky by Munchkins, then maybe I would buy it.
Yeah, Alex K says tornado statement greater than age statement. Exactly.
Hell yes, and that's the Buffalo Trace marketing, which is brilliant.
Their marketing is
a Survivor. It's special. God was involved.
When is somebody just going to come out with Mother Nature edition?
The thing is, though, it's not even Buffalo Trace, because you go back and there's plenty of pictures on social media, and I wasn't into whiskey or didn't see it, didn't look for it then, but it was on the shelf for $70 a bottle.
Yeah.
So it's not like Buffalo Trace said we're going to put this on the shelf at $1,000 a bottle because it's the Tornado Survivor. Yeah, I mean, they still sold it at their usual, bottle price of $70. And then
I would agree, but just the fact that they thought, you know what, let's put Tornado Survivor on the can and let's see what happens.
Yeah, that's the step in. Yeah, that's the A+ for marketing right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I'm sure 1792 being Sazerac is right behind, just one step behind.
Yeah.
And then I recently ran into somebody that thought that the Kentucky Owl Confiscated was the actual barrels that were confiscated back in Prohibition.
Oh man.
I was like, God, please don't get it, please.
I actually had.
Did they think it was bottled then, or did they think it was aged 100 years?
No, they think that the barrels were somehow found after 50 years, and that, like, did you know that this is like the lost barrel? I was like, dude, Bardstown Bourbon Company made it like last week. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I actually had a chance to. My nephew saw those. I think they were $150, and I was like, "Nah." I mean, there's too much other whiskey out there.
I've seen them around for like even 120, 130, and I'm like, I'm passing. Yeah. I'm not doing
that whole label really pissed me off, because I feel like for the uneducated consumer, they're going to think that it's a confiscated barrel.
So I actually had a chance to try it at you guys know Perry from My Bourbon Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and hung out with him and Chad and Sarah a couple weeks ago when I was up in Kentucky. We ended up back at Perry's house, and he was like, "Have you had a chance to try it?" And I was like, "No." So he poured me some, and I was like, It's good. I'd probably be in it for that like $60 to $70 price mark.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Joseph, where I'm at with it.
Joseph Brazo is
Brazo.
Had a pour of the confiscated. It was a nice $50 bourbon.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's what I've heard from most people that are, kind of in the know with bourbon. It's a good $50, $60 bourbon, but
what Moose said, Elon needs to shoot a barrel off in a SpaceX. Bottles would go for thousands.
Probably.
Yeah, they'd call it the bourbon would be called Orbit. Oh my God, it's so crazy, man. I mean,
hey, Richie's in the house.
Richie Z's up, man.
Richie. It took him forever to get in here, man. He usually doesn't miss a live stream for anything. Space aged bourbon. You laugh, but
you laugh, but that's I mean, Jefferson's is taking their shit in ships around, the equator. Next is space. I'm telling
you. Elon, if you're listening, if you think you're making money on that whole Tesla thing, here's your
wait till you get into overpriced bourbon.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine seeing a label like this ultra like techie label with just the word Musk on it. I can see it now. And people are like, "Oh, I have to have that. That was aged in Mars." Oh my God, the weather is so different there. It must be amazing on the bourbon. All right, what the hell am I pouring next here? I think I'm gonna pour some of the terrible Evan Williams Bottle and Bond, which is just awful.
Hey, I just poured the Blonde Brothers, so you should get on my level.
All right, I'm gonna go get mine. Here it is.
Well, with the another round live stream that we do once a month, I think 2 times ago we were talking, and Bounty Hunter had their own California Bell Mead Sherry Bourbon cask.
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I ordered one, and it's pretty effing good. That's what I pour. I got a little bit of that.
Hey, we're 2 hours into this. The PC stuff can go. This is no holds barred at this point.
Are we about ready to go unlive?
By the way, Scott, me and Sam really liked when Bart dropped an F-bomb in your video and you cork popped it.
Yeah. I was like, really? An F-bomb right there. Yep, that's right.
Oh, Scott, that video that Aquavite did of you guys when you visited was unbelievable.
That was a good one. Yep.
Yeah, really good video.
I mean, he's running around doing so much, and he had that drone going, and
yeah, the drone shots are pretty amazing.
Yeah. That's a nice drone. That's like I think it's just under $1,000, drone, but it takes some good freaking shots.
Are you guys ready to go unlive?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably ought to.
Joseph said, "Can you say fuck this joint?" He can. Yep, approved. Comment approved. Comment approved, buddy. I got you.
That's right. To all the bourbons out there and the whiskeys that aren't transparent, fuck that joint.
All right. Everyone in the chat, we absolutely love you guys. I think there's like 40 people still in here after a couple hours. So appreciate you guys. And speaking of another round, what did we do? July 2nd, I think.
Yeah, Tuesday night. Yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday night, July 2nd. We're going to be doing another round again.
Yep.
Whose channel is it on?
John's.
Yeah, I think it's
Bobby's.
I think it's Blind Whiskey Reviews said he's going to do it. So
I think it is John from Blind Whiskey Reviews, July 2nd. So anyway, appreciate all you guys in the chat. Do you guys want to say anything before we log off?
Thanks to everybody that tuned in. Appreciate it. It's been a good time.
Yeah, thanks for the invite, Kyle. Definitely I just filmed a review before I jumped on, so thanks for the invite. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely, Bobby.
Yeah, thanks for having me on late, and I'm the only one that didn't get an F-bomb in, so cheers, motherfuckers.
Love it. And on that note, we're out.